So in my opinion, Baker Mayfield, the Cleveland Browns quarterback, made a mistake. I want to break it down. A while back, the Browns running back, Duke Johnson, said that he wanted to be traded away. And it made sense to me, right? The Browns have Nick Chubb, a really good running back. They also just signed, they brought in Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt is suspended for 8 games, but when Kareem Hunt comes back, it's likely that Duke Johnson will be the number 3 running back on the Cleveland Browns roster. And, Duke Johnson is a solid running back. He can contribute and help a team somewhere, and he wants playing time. He's like, look, I want to earn a new contract. I want to get on the field so I can get more money. And he wants to take care of his family. Totally makes sense to me. I get it. Now, when Baker Mayfield, Duke Johnson's teammate, Duke Johnson's quarterback, and teammate on the Browns, was asked how he felt about all of this, here's what Baker Mayfield said. Baker Mayfield said about Duke Johnson, he said, that's a situation we've been dealing with for a while. He said, you're either on this train or not. It's moving. You can get out of the way or you can join us. So it is what it is. He's basically saying, hey, Duke Johnson, get on or get off. And a couple of veterans of the Browns didn't like these comments. They were like, we don't feel good about that. And reports are that they approached Baker Mayfield and they had a positive conversation. So a lot of thoughts here. I want to talk about Duke Johnson. We'll talk about what Baker Mayfield said. I want to start here, though, is that veterans coming to talk to Baker Mayfield is a good thing. That's a sign of a healthy locker room. And a healthy relationship. They respect Baker. Baker respects them. They can communicate with each other. Great. That's awesome. But I think Baker made a mistake. He should not have said what he said about Duke Johnson. Even though, by the way, look, I can agree with what you say and still think you shouldn't have said it. Some things should not be said publicly. We saw Aaron Rodgers do it today. He called out his coach. You can't do it. You can't say that publicly. And what Baker Mayfield said about his running back and about his teammate is something you really should not say. I agree with what Baker Mayfield said. Everything Baker Mayfield said was true. He said, hey, it's time to go. Get in or out. Do you want to trade? Do you want to be a part of this team? We want to win games. That's our goal. And do you want to win games with us? Or do you hate the Browns and want to leave? So I agree with what Baker's saying, right? It's like the right message to send to the locker room, which is no distractions. We want to win games. That's what Baker Mayfield was trying to send. That's the message it seemed like he was trying to send to the locker room. I agree with that, but you can't say what you said. What he said did not have much compassion for Duke Johnson. And I know that's not a sexy term, compassion. We're guys, we can't. It's important. It really is, especially when you're dealing with other people. They're teammates. This is a very nuanced situation. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to what Baker Mayfield said. On one hand, Baker set the tone, right? He said, there's no BS here. We're here to work. We want to win games. But he should have delivered that message differently. He should have had compassion for Duke Johnson's situation. Reports have said Duke Johnson isn't causing trouble. He just wants to be traded. He wants to be traded so he can go somewhere else and earn a new contract. And really, the truth is that even if Duke Johnson was a distraction, calling him out, not having compassion for a situation is not good. What happens when he sees Duke Johnson the next day in the locker room? Is it awkward? What he should have said is, we want to win games and we're here to work. Or he should have said, no comment, I have nothing to say. If you don't have something good to say about your teammate, probably don't say it, especially in a situation like this. Baker could have sent the message that the Browns want Duke Johnson. He could have wooed him into wanting to stay. Be kind to him. Say, hey, we like Duke Johnson. He's great. It's too bad he doesn't want to be here, but we could use him if he wants to play for the Browns. Say nice things. Make him want to be a part of you. Instead, Baker Mayfield pushed him away. And now I'm not sure if, or even if they can, I'm not sure if the Browns keep him, and I'm not sure the Browns can keep Duke Johnson on their roster. I actually did something similar to what Baker did in high school. When I was in high school playing quarterback, there was a receiver who was really nice to me when I transferred in. I transferred into a new school, and we were both on the bottom of the totem pole together. We were both JV football players. He was really tall, had a lot of potential, but he was lazy. He was an okay receiver, but lazy. Now, later that season, I became the varsity starting quarterback. I moved up. He stayed down on JV. He didn't work hard. He could have, if he'd worked hard, would have been a great receiver. Didn't work hard, though. So the next offseason, I was the returning starter. I was like, man, I'm the man. I feel pretty good about myself. And I was not afraid to speak up and voice my opinion. And so one day we were warming up for summer weights, and he was screwing around. And in my view, it felt like he was always screwing around. Like, man, dude, can you just get it figured out? So I called him out. I called him out in front of everybody. I got in his face. I said, man, stop screwing around or go home. Get on or get off the train. And he went home, and he never played organized football again. That's not going to happen in the Duke Johnson situation. But I just look back later, and I'm like, man, I should have handled that situation better. He liked football. What he didn't like was me being a jerk to him and calling him out publicly in front of everybody. It hurt our relationship. And you know what? We could have used the guy. My senior year, we could have used that tall receiver. He would have been a good role player and contributed a little bit to our team. This is not a direct comparison to Baker Mayfield's situation. It's not. But it's a situation where you don't have compassion for someone else and you damage a relationship and it make it so that it might even leave your team. The Browns could use Duke Johnson. And if they trade away Duke Johnson, that's a loss. The loss of a role player who could really help their team win games. I know that what I did in high school was I drove away a player who could have helped us. I was a jerk. And it cost me a friendship with a guy who was nice to me. And it cost me probably a win or two in football because we didn't have a role player playing wide receiver. We could have used the guy. Baker Mayfield was right about Duke Johnson. What he said was, dude, get on or get out. Do you want to be traded or do you want to be here? Totally agree with everything he said. The message, the content of the message is right. But don't make it public. Don't call out the guy. Go talk to him face to face. Deal with it. I just think Baker could have had a little more compassion for his teammate and delivered the message better, right? I'm not, maybe that's just my stance. Maybe I don't like when people air their dirty laundry publicly. But that, to me, the way Baker handled the situation, not cool. It's not good. You don't embarrass someone to make them like you and want to be a part of your team. That's a really bad tactic if you want someone to work with you. And it just seemed like Baker was like, screw you. I'm going to push you away. And I really don't like that. So I think Baker Mayfield made a mistake. He's fine. He'll be okay. I think really I would love to hear Baker say, I own it and say, I should have been more compassionate to what he would never use that word probably, but say like, yeah, look, I get it. I get what Duke Johnson's going through and something like that. Something to repair the situation a little bit. Because I can't imagine that Duke Johnson is extremely excited to work with Baker Mayfield moving forward. But I just thought the way he handled this whole situation that comment was a mistake. He shouldn't have said that. I just want to say thank you so very much for tuning in. My name is Zach Schaumler. This is my podcast, Strong Opinion Sports. It is my favorite thing in the entire world. And my dream is to someday build Strong Opinion Sports into a company that I can run as my full-time job. And if you believe in me, if you believe in that dream, please do me a huge favor. Help me grow by telling your friends about the show. Share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Help me grow by telling your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. Another way you can help if you want to, no pressure. I have a PayPal, paypal.me/Zach Schaumler. I also have a Patreon account, patreon.com/Zach Schaumler. It'd be a huge help. That's my only source of income. If you have no money, no problem though. I don't care. I'm a broke college kid myself. I know what it's like. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, man, I don't expect anything. It'd be a huge help if you could tell your friends about Strong Opinion Sports. That's the number one way you can help this show is help me grow by telling your friends about this podcast.